My pronouns are they and them, and I am average height. I have a yellow hat, brown skin, green shirt, brown pants. I kind of look like a tree. But it is really good to be here today, and I hope that you've had a time as we actually fell back and got a little extra rest. I think we need that rest most of all, so we can fall back, reflect, and come forward as we through this day. We've got a few things on the agenda. I just want to let you know that after the election day, please know that we have a program called Being Held by Love. It is a community, post-election community visual, and we are going to be here in Beacon in this beautiful space to be together, to draw off and try to restore back the energy after such an election. I know some of us are feeling all the different kinds of things. You might feel a little bit of hopeful. You might feel a little anxious. You might feel a little, wherever you are, I want you to know you are welcome to be here, and you are welcome to be with your community and be loved and be cared for in ways that honestly we definitely need it today. If you are joining us virtually, I just want to let you know that we are excited to have you as well. And this is your first time. Get prepared to make a new friend, rub a shoulder, hey, smile, it is definitely that time. I want to also invite you to, as is just in my quick members, the virtual social hour at 12 has been canceled. It has been canceled, okay? And in addition to that, tickets are going fast for this concert. So if you haven't, make sure you get on the ball, okay? Because I don't want you to miss out on such a musical opportunity to have, okay, and share in. It is absolutely going to be an incredible time. Otherwise, can you just look to the person to your left or to your right? Let them know that you're glad to see them today. Greet them. I know y'all did it in the hallway, but come on, it's good when you're in the sanctuary. Yeah, greet somebody. That's all right. That's all right. That's what we do here. Yeah, take a moment. Take a moment. I don't know what it took to get you up, wake you up. I will now turn this portion of the service over to Misa, our music minister.
Yes, well, now it is. Thank you, Reverend Jay, who was talking about the afternoon music concert on November 17th. So you want to definitely come to that. But we're going to start this morning by singing song number 1023, Building Bridges. I invite you to rise in any way possible and join in singing this song, which we will do a number of times around. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Good morning, beloved. Good morning. My name's Reverend Robin. My pronouns are she, her. I have the honor of being a member of the lead ministry team here at Beacon, along with my colleague, Dr. Tuli Patel, who's on the sound this day, and I'm very conscious of the power she holds at this moment. My esteemed, talented, gifted, oh, we've got like a drum beat going. Do you want to hear us drumming? Yes. Okay. I don't know if Tuli's trying to give me a drum roll or... Sounds like it's not my mic, because my mic is now off. Consider that beat an encouragement to continue to go forward for a moment. All jokes aside, I do want to thank Dr. Tuli for her incredible work making our biggest annual fundraiser last night possible. Bidding has started this morning, which is quite exciting, and I just want to take a moment to thank Dr. Tuli. And as we begin our service, as we always do, by kindling the light of our faith, no pressure at all, but I do need a volunteer to kindle the light of our chalice. Do we have Julia? Julia Curry-Miller, come on. Julia, who is a pillar of our community. Our words today for lighting our chalice include some gendered language that's a little bit unusual.
This morning's reading comes from Rabindranath Tagore, and it's Where the Mind is Without Fear. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms toward perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father. Let my country awake.
Almost. Almost. Good morning. My name is Kathy Menendez, she, hers. For the visual cues, I'm a shorter, older, white woman with blonde hair wearing my favorite blue, plus a burgundy scarf, which indicates I'm a member of the chaplain team here at Beacon.
Thank you, Lux.
As chaplains, we extend the spiritual care of our community by offering intentional compassion through presence and listening. We also facilitate the weekly ritual of community candle lighting, and together we light candles of joy, sorrow, and gratitude. This morning, we light a candle of sorrow and concern for the wildfire raging in Livingston. May it be brought under control quickly, and may we be blessed with healing rain to end this drought. We light a candle of sympathy for Bob and Ellen Schell and their family as they grieve the loss of Bob's mother, Margot. We hold Hannah, Kate, and Amelia in our hearts as they remember their beloved Nana. We light a candle for All Souls Day and remember those who have departed from our lives but remain in our hearts. And we light a candle in celebration for Diwali, the festival of lights, to honor the triumph of light over darkness and hope over despair. We light one for those impacted by global conflicts and disasters. We light a candle for healing and peace. May our thoughts and actions contribute to a world where all can live with safety and dignity. We light a candle for the spirit of democracy and the collective voice that shapes our future, hoping that all who participate be guided by compassion, equity, and a vision for a just society. Finally, we light a candle for autumn's beauty, for turning clocks and turning seasons. Let this be a reminder that even challenging change can bring remarkable transformation and growth. For this and for so much more, we invite you now to come forward to light a candle here in our sanctuary, or at home, or wherever you may be.
still, then I'm going to just say that's my heartbeat. This representation is much softer, so if I just take a moment in the silence and listen to it. It's all right. This is part of what we're feeling. And we're going to sing together meditation on breathing. If you want to look at the music, it's 1009, but you might just want to sing along the tune or sing some of the harmony as we go through the piece a few times. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Thank you.
Thank you, Misa. Thank you, Vicky. You are all invited into a time of quiet and meditation. So if you can get comfortable into a position that you can hold for 3 to 5 minutes. Some people prefer their feet flat on the ground or on the rung of their chair if the feet don't reach the ground. Spines are straight. And I invite you to either gently close your eyes or gaze at a spot in front of you, so your eyes are not straining. And from this place of quiet, we bring our attention to our breath, moving in and out through the body. On the inhale, the breath enters the nostrils, flows down past the back of the throat, into the lungs, and on the out-breath, the journey is reversed. Breathing in and out. If the breath is compromised for you today, either with sickness or anything else that might be arising, you may wish to focus on the palms of your hand, the bottom of your feet, or the top of your head. From this place of focused quiet, we notice how grounded we are, how rooted we are, connected to the earth, our spines suspended between the heavens and the ground. Our breath is something we can always return to in times of anxiety or excitement, in times of joy or sorrow. We can return to this breath. In times of turmoil, the breath will be short and rapid, and we can consciously lengthen it. We can count the in-breath and the out-breath. Breathing in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A slight pause, and then breathing in again. A little bit of counting helps to keep the focus on the breath. particularly in times of stress when we do not know outcomes and we do not know what life will bring us. Our breath can ground us. Our breath can hold us and keep us open to whatever might arise. We become like a pond or a lake of still water. Unshakable, unmovable, rooted, grounded, unwavering. Unwavering in our commitment to our values, strong in our beliefs, grounded in our presence. All this requires practice. It takes practice to remain willing, to be open, to be grounded. And so we open ourselves up to openness, to willingness, to being grounded.
All right. Holly Neer wrote a song called I Am Willing, and we're going to do a little practice on it so that during the course of the song, you could join in as we sing the choruses. The chorus sounds like this. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. There is a hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is a panic all across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world around. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. Give me a mighty oak to hold my confusion, and give me a desert to hold my fears. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder. Give me an ocean to hold my tears. For I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light
Good morning. My name's Andre Bernard. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a white male of medium build and medium height. Some 20 years ago, my wife, Asha, and I were searching for a spiritual home. We had been on a spiritual journey for many years, but as a family, we had never been part of an established house of worship. We were searching for a congregation that would uphold the ideals we felt strongly about, ideals built around interfaith understanding and social justice. And at the same time, provide a spiritual place that our two daughters, Emily and Ariel, could grow and feel comfortable in. Beacon provided that, and we joined wholeheartedly. When we first came to Beacon, Beacon had just finished the renovations at 4 Waldron. The first services that we attended were some of the first that were held following the renovations. Asha and I were active members our first 10 years at Beacon. I served on the board as well as several committees, and both of our daughters were active in the youth group. Since we moved from Chatham some 10 years ago, we have been less directly involved. Although I have been less physically present, my support of the faith, the ideals, and the mission of Beacon remains strong. Today, I am grateful for the ability to tune in virtually, just knowing that this community is active in so many ways and that we are all connected is a very uplifting feeling. Beacon's message ripples out in a world that very much needs that message. Beacon has been through many changes over the years. Vanessa and Emily, my two main points of contact, have moved on, and yet the incredible spirit and guiding principles are still very much alive with Reverend Robin and the Beacon team. Finally, I am grateful that Beacon has welcomed the Dancers of Universal Peace. I focus this group, and everyone who joins in is so appreciative of meeting in this very special sanctuary. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andre and Asha, for your presence here and all that you have given to make our Beacon shine over these years. It is with a gratitude that overflows with which our morning offering will now be gratefully received.
I'm so happy to be here this morning with Vicki Carter. We're going to do a song called Beautiful Noise. It was written by a group of people led by Alicia Keys and Brandy Carlisle, and it is about using your voice in a choir, and it was written about having a voice and having a choice for a time when you're voting. I have a voice, started out as a whisper, turned into a scream, made a beautiful noise, shoulder to shoulder marching in the street. When you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze, but when you band together, it's a choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice. I'm not living to die. Don't stand in a wasteland, look at me in the eye. Stop living a lie and stand up next to me. You gotta put one foot in front of another with a hand in a hand, holding on to each other. Go out and rejoice, 'cause you have a voice. It is loud, it is clear, it's stronger than your fear. It's believing you belong, it's calling out the wrong. From the silence of my sisters to the violence of my brothers, we can rage against the river, feel the pain of another. We can heal. Can you hear us? Can you hear us now? I have a voice, started out as a whisper, turned into into a scream, made a beautiful noise, shoulder to shoulder marching in the street. When you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze, but when you stand together, it's a choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice. We have a choice, 'cause I have a voice.
This morning's reading comes from Howard Zinn, The Optimism of Uncertainty. Pardon?
We need a little volume on
Okay.
the pulpit mic. We can't hear Helen.
Oh, there it is, yeah. This reading comes from Howard Zinn, The Optimism of Uncertainty. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act, in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory.
Well, I blew the subwoofer just with the chalice lighting, so let's see how this goes. Thank you, Helen. By the end of this year, over 70 countries will hold an election. Of those voting, about 50 of those countries, or roughly 49% of the world's population, will participate in a national election. 2024 is indeed the election year, not just here in the United States, but around the globe. And these elections have the power cumulatively to shape global policy for the next decade. So now, beloved, you have a whole new set of data to be anxious about well beyond Tuesday. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. There's more. In all seriousness, how are you doing? Yay. That was the saddest yay I've ever heard. How else are you doing? Okay. Hanging in. Scared. Believing. Hopeful. Anxious. Did you notice how quickly that subwoofer created anxiety in the room, almost as if, in all seriousness, we're right at the edge a lot of the time? I'm getting daily messages from friends around the world, including our UU congregational partners in Ballot, Transylvania, and in Jawai, India. And they are asking me, because of the time difference at all hours of the day, what do you think is going to happen? How will they decide? What are you all going to do? It's really good for anxiety. All of it. The polls, the pundits, the Google searches, the predictions, the stories about this next person who has never failed to predict an election correctly in 82 years, the betting numbers, the prayers, even the analysis of every single moment or comment or voting group or the lines at early voting. All of it is trying to ask what people will do and causing us to wonder, what will they choose? They being the ones you don't know. What choice will they make? In The Road Not Taken, published in Ebony magazine in 1970, Lerone Bennett puts the choice this way. A nation is a choice, he writes. It chooses itself at fateful forks in the road by turning left or turning right, by giving up something or taking something. And in the giving up and the taking and the deciding and the not deciding, the nation becomes. And ever afterwards, the nation and the people who make up the nation are defined by the fork and by the decision that was made there, as well as by the decision that was not made there. Bennett examines in The Road Not Taken how deliberate the choice that followed in the formation of our nation was, one choice leading to another and to another and to another and to another. And like that original poem, The Road Not Taken, Robert Frost, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and be one traveler, long I stood. Takes me back to 3rd grade when I had to memorize it. Those early moments when we as an emerging nation could have chosen something else but didn't, a freer nation, a liberation, an equality, an end to slavery and gender iniquity, what could we have been for the road not taken? Asked Bennett. And yet, unlike Frost's poem, the decision is not done. We are not one solitary traveler looking back on a decision we made ages and ages ago at the near end of our life. Rather, the choice emerges again and again in new ways in subsequent generations. Yes, shaped by all the preceding choices, but not compelled by them. The past cannot be undone. And yet there is a persistent potentiality. I shared last week that some people, process theologians, even call that potentiality God, a holy kind of energy. As Howard Zinn describes it, human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. The future is an infinite succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. But really, what will they choose? Yesterday, I went to find out a little bit of what they would choose. I went to Pennsylvania. It's been in the news a little bit, hasn't it? I went with my good friend Arlene Holt Baker, who is the retired vice president of AFL-CIO. She is a labor organizer like none other, and I have learned the few good things I know how to do in organizing from Arlene. When we got there, Arlene was pumped and ready, and I was too. We were in Bucks County. Anybody been to Bucks County, Pennsylvania? I feel like just saying I came from Bucks County makes me kind of feel like a little tough, you know? I was canvassing in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Well, when we got there, we had to sign up and get a packet, right, of who we were going to canvass. And Arlene told the person handing out the packets, give us some tough turf. Give us some diverse turf. And as we saw, we realized they had indeed given us a challenge. we were canvassing almost exclusively Republicans in Bucks County. Now, I want to be really clear in this moment that I'm not telling you who to vote for, because your vote should never be dictated by anyone, most especially a religious leader. And maligning people for their vote is not within our values as Unitarian Universalists. So I want to get that very clear before I say what I'm about to say. I'm sharing these stories because what I experienced in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, has important meaning for us here in New Jersey. I was there canvassing for Harris. I knew the households I was reaching out to likely had someone who at some point indicated in some survey or phone call that they were open to the possibility of voting differently at the top of the ticket than they were with the rest of their ballot. As we went to the first house, I saw Trump signs all over the front of the house, and one of the other canvassers with us said, maybe we should skip this one? And I said, no, let's go. And Arlene nodded. She stayed in the car, and I knew she was ready to pop that passenger door if I came running. But in all seriousness, I went to that first door, and I listened to a woman who answered the door tell me how she felt abandoned by both parties. How she really wasn't sure how she was going to vote. That her 84-year-old mother that she has been taking care of, who's very sick, just got kicked off health insurance. And so I'll tell you, I did what any decent person would do right then. I did not ask her how she was voting. I talked to her about what was going on in her life, about the real struggles she was facing, and the truth that neither party was putting forth something that was going to solve the crisis she found herself in, and hadn't proposed anything for a long time. The next house I went to, again, similar backdrop, lots of signs for one candidate. And as I knocked on the door, a man answered the door, and I said, hello, sir, and he said, what are you here for? I said, I'm here canvassing. I'm with AFL-CIO today, and I'm out checking on folks, seeing if they have voted already, if they have a plan to vote. He said, well, can't you see our signs? I said, I can, sir. Have you voted already? He said, yes, we voted. I said, well, thank you for participating in democracy. May I speak to Marjorie? Now, I had some information on my little app that told me that Marjorie had said she wasn't voting for the same candidate as those signs. Well, I don't know why you want to talk to her. She's going to say the same thing I am. Well, I would just like to thank her for participating in democracy. Is Marjorie home? She's going to say the same thing. I understand, sir. And I waited, and he waited. And at last, he sighed with exasperation and walked away, and Marjorie came through the door. And as she came through the door and closed the door behind her, I realized that she was very afraid. And I could see her hands were just trembling a little as she tried to clasp them. And that was when he came up against the storm door, pulled down the glass, and leaned over. I said, hi, ma'am. I'm out canvassing today. I understand you've already voted. And she looked at the ground and then looked up at me and said, we're Republicans. I said, I understand, ma'am. I wanted to thank you for participating in democracy. I understand that you voted for former President Trump. And then she looked at the ground, looked up at me, and went ever so slightly with her head, no. She took her shaking hands and she motioned that I should go. And I just said, I want to thank you again. Thank you. And I walked away. Not every house was like that. I had some people tell me they were not voting for Vice President Harris because she laughs too much. I had some households tell me they were voting for their children, and I ought to know exactly what that meant. I had some households that wouldn't answer the door but peered at me through the curtains. I had some households that simply pointed to a no soliciting sign. But toward the end of that day, I had one household with a big Penn State flag. It was clear they were getting ready for a game party, you know. The storm door was closed, but the front door was open, and I could see all the festivities getting together. And I rang the doorbell, and a woman came to the door, and she stepped outside on the porch and motioned me to the side. She could see the leaflet I was holding. And she said, I already voted, but my household is voting very differently. And she said in a whisper that I could barely hear, I voted for Harris. And then she started to cry. And she said, I feel so alone. And that was when I smiled, because I knew that that was one thing I had a solution to, because I'd just been down her street. I said, you're not alone. I've spent all day with your neighbors. You should have coffee with Marjorie. You're not alone. Now, had I canvassed in a different place, I would have different stories for you. I would have different experiences to tell. I will say that in all the canvassing I've done, from West Virginia to North Carolina, across the last decade plus, I have never seen so many individuals frightened. Frightened to talk about how they voted. I've never encountered that in the numbers that I saw. But I know this, no matter if I had gone to Pennsylvania or stayed here in New Jersey or gone to North Carolina and done some canvassing, I know one thing about the stories. I know that the stories would defy the cable news and the message that we are getting. I know that the stories would defy the beat telling us what is possible and what isn't in this moment. I know that the stories would defy all of the hype confessing and professing and proclaiming what is on this ballot. I left Bucks County realizing something very important that I want us all to get really clear with this morning. No matter the outcome of Tuesday or however many weeks or months, ooh, this is wood, right? It takes to settle this election, no matter the outcome, there's work to do. No matter the vote, in truth, for many Americans and residents in this country, they have long felt abandoned by both parties. Notice in the presidential debate, no one said the word poor or poverty, and yet we have 43% of the residents of this country living in poverty. Don't talk to me about the middle class when we have children who go to sleep hungry every night. And perhaps ever more importantly, there's no perfect solution on the ballot. There never is. And yet I voted with confidence and clarity, but I also voted knowing that my vote is not the completion of being a citizen, but it is one small act, one important act in a constellation of faithful work that I am called to. As we navigate this anxiety and stress, for some of us an incredibly activating time, I want to remind you, if you have a few minutes, just a few more things that aren't on the ballot. Could you stay with me for a few minutes? Your agency, beloved, is not on the ballot. Practicing democracy at home, in your neighborhood, in intimate communities, in workplace, here at Beacon, that is not on the ballot. Your ability to direct your attention to the potentiality and possibility and move toward it with all of your being, that is not on the ballot or the outcome of the ballot. Our ability to love, to act, to resist, to be, heaven's sake, human together is not on the ballot. Our ability to find joy, to create a new world in that infinite succession of possibilities, it is not on the ballot, and it's not determined by the outcome of an election. It's not. Don't give up your joy. Don't give up your love. Don't give up your agency. Don't give up your truth for the outcome of an election. It reminds me of that old Shirley Caesar song, and I know you're going to help me, Reverend Jay, because you know I can't sing well enough to get into heaven. That old Shirley Caesar song, you know it, you know it. This joy, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Come on. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Yes. You want to keep singing it? Me too. Me too. On Tuesday, we as a nation will make a choice. Several, in fact. Some of us have already chosen. Some of us whisper our choices. Some of us never say them aloud. They just live as a little filled-in bubble. Some of us scream our choices, shout them into a megaphone. Some of us can't even express that choice. Some of us gave up long ago. But the question is not what will they choose? The question is, who will we choose to be? Who will we choose to be beyond the ballot, beyond Tuesday, beyond this little teeny tiny tyrant? When we rise in the morning on Wednesday, if we are given the good grace to rise, who will we be? Beacon, your soul and your mind and your heart and your life is not bound by the ballot or the outcome of this election. And I want you to remember in this moment, soak in this shining fall day with the earth testifying to what can be right here in this little corner of New Jersey. And your spiritual ancestors who acted with courage, and those who failed to, but who beg you beyond the grave to pick up the baton, bloody as it may be, and to bring it forward. I want you to remember women and queer folks and biracial folk and black folks and folks of the global majority and good men who don't have to declare that they are safe and are protectors because they inhabit safety and protection. Good men, just like some of the good men in this room who do that. And I want you to remember children and our elders. I want you to remember those devastated by storms and those who are still choosing hope, choosing love, choosing to act. We make the choice every day, beloved, not only on a bubble on a pre-filled form or in a small little machine in an elementary school on an ordinary afternoon in November. We have a choice every day to choose love over fear, hope over despair, community over separation, justice over hatred, peace over violence, the earth over devastation and decimation, extravagant ways to love and to cherish over belittling bullies, higher moral ground over the dilapidated lowest common denominator. a collective pushing to birth a new way of being together over a haunting halt of progress and death-loving good old days that were never that damn good. Real people working it out on the corner and in the living room, on the porch, being reminded that you are not alone and you are not without a voice. And that you are more than a soundbite, more than tribalism-fueled rallies. You are the lifeblood of those who fought and died for a better day. You are not the fainting loss of agency nor allegiance to a fascist. All of us humans with strengths and imperfections, glorious unknown potentiality that we are. Still shining, still singing, even if it doesn't get us into heaven. Still going onward. We choose each other. We choose all of that potentiality. We live it and we don't let nobody take it. Nobody gets our joy. Nobody takes our love. Nobody takes it. Nobody takes it. And we keep saying we until we know who we mean. And each day we choose to mean one more. Choose wisely, beloved. Keep on choosing. Keep on acting. Keep on hoping. Keep on loving. Keep on. Amen.
Thank you, Robin. We are going to end with 1020. That's the song that's Wa Ya Ya. And in Ghana, Wa Ya Ya means we are going. I'm just going to give you a quick little music reading lesson. If you turn to page 3 and 4, you'll see that there at the bottom of page 3, there's a set of 2 vertical bars and 2 little tiny dots. That means it's going to be a repeat point. So when you see the second one, which is on the 4th page, it means go back to the first set. You also see that at the top, there's a horizontal bar and it has a 1. That means the first time you sing those words, then you go back. And the second time you go on to the second set of words. And then you'll see also on the last page, there's a repeat sign here and a repeat sign here. It just means sing that little part again. And at the bottom, another set. So we're going to repeat that. So I hope that makes it a little bit easier to follow along. All right. I invite you to rise in any way possible as we sing this song about going, where we don't know exactly where we are going, but we go together. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wa ya ya, wa ya ya, wa ya ya, wa ya ya. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wa ya ya, 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 wa ya ya.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Beacon, grab somebody next to you. What a message today. What a message today. What a way that we can begin to think about the choices we make. I want to remind you, if you have not thought about it, to look at somebody and say, you were never alone. You were never alone. Never, never, never. Say with me, love is with you.
Love is with you.
And so are we.
And so are we.
I am. Because we are.
Because we are.
And we are.
And we are.
Because love is.
Because love is.
Make a good choice.